Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into Presight, one of the big players in AI and digital transformation coming out of the UAE. We've got their latest results, Q3 2025, but we want to go deeper than just the numbers. Our mission here is really to understand their strategy, what they're calling the twin engines of growth. How are they balancing that core domestic role in the UAE with this really ramped up international push? You wanted to look at this because we need clarity on where the real momentum is and what this tells us about the bigger picture in global AI, right?
Exactly. It's a critical framework. And what the sources show, I think, is more than just strong financials. It's a very deliberate strategy. They're embedding quite specific AI into national infrastructure, critical industries, both at home and increasingly abroad. It's almost a blueprint for how tech power gets exported now.
Okay, let's unpack that. Starting with the financials, the core engine, if you like. The headline figures show good momentum, but let's get some context. Q3 revenue for 2025. AED, $652.9 million. That's up 15.3% year on year. Pretty solid.
Solid indeed. And EBITDA tracked that pretty closely. Came in at AED 131.8 million, up 14.4%. But if you zoom out, look at the 9-month picture, that's where the scale really hits you. 9-month revenue hit AED 1.74 billion. That's almost a 50% increase, 48.8% year-on-year growth. That's, significant scaling, not just creeping up.
And importantly, this isn't just buying growth, is it? The reports say their organic revenue, so stuff they generated themselves, was up 25.1%. That tells you something about the strength of their actual tech and, I guess, client relationships.
Absolutely. And speaking of strength and future confidence, you have to look at the order backlog. That's a key indicator.
Wow.
As of September 30th, 2025, it stood at AED 3.7 billion.
Wow, 3.7 billion.
Yeah, compare that to AED 1.6 billion the same time last year. It's more than doubled. That's a huge amount of future work locked in. Predictability.
Okay, a backlog that big, AED 3.7 billion, is definitely great for stability, locks in revenue, but, does scaling that fast, locking in so much work years out, does that maybe constrain them? Could it challenge their engineering capacity or maybe limit their ability to jump on unexpected new things that need resources now?
That's always a fair question, a risk assessment point.
Yeah.
But the sources suggest they're managing this risk pretty well. Key point, financial health. They ended the quarter debt-free, and they're holding AED 1.88 billion in cash.
Okay.
That's serious capital, not just for operations, but specifically for, funding innovation, R&D, and building the capacity needed to actually deliver on that huge backlog without missing out on the next big thing.
Right, that makes sense. Let's touch on one detail that might seem a bit off at first glance, net profit. Q3 net profit was AED 110.3 million, but the growth was only 1.1%. With revenue and EBITDA growing much faster, why such a small net profit increase?
Yeah, that's an important one. It's basically down to new regulations. You have to understand the context and the region. The documentation points out they absorbed an extra 6% effective corporate tax rate. This comes from the new 15% UAE corporate tax that's been implemented.
Oh, okay.
So that tiny 1.1% growth isn't really about performance slipping. It's a structural change.
Right.
They basically ate a significant new tax hit and while still managed to grow profit, even if just slightly.
Got it. That
Yeah.
clarifies the financial base. So now let's shift to the other engine, the international one. This seems to be where the really dramatic acceleration has happened.
Absolutely. This is, I think, the most profound strategic shift in their recent reports. It really changes how you see them competitively. The sources state international markets brought in 46% of total Q3 revenue. 46%.
Wow.
Just think in Q3 2024, that figure was only 14.3%. So in just 1 year, they fundamentally reshaped where their money comes from.
Okay, 14% to 46%. That kind of diversification doesn't just happen. Where is this international growth actually coming from? Which countries are driving these multi-year deals?
The reports are quite specific here. They call out major deployments in Angola, Kazakhstan, and Jordan as key drivers. It suggests Presight has figured out how to package and export its specialized know-how effectively. The CEO clearly sees this as making them a top regional exporter of AI services. Middle East, Asia, Africa, even into Europe.
And a big chunk of this international piece comes via their subsidiary, AIQ, right? Added about AED 156 million in revenue this quarter.
Right.
What's AIQ specialism?
Yeah, AIQ is crucial. They're really doubling down on the energy sector with their platform, EnergyEye. It's described as a world-first agentic AI solution for oil and gas. Now, that term agentic AI is key.
Agentic AI, what does that mean practically?
It means the AI isn't just like crunching numbers and giving insights. It's more sophisticated. It can actually take action semi-autonomously to achieve complex goals. Think optimizing drilling, predicting when equipment will fail, managing power grids, stuff that needs multiple steps without a human needing to approve every single one.
So they're selling high-level automation tools for massive optimization problems in a very specific high-value industry.
Exactly. Deep proprietary tech solving billion-dollar headaches.
Okay, that's the international engine really firing. Let's switch back now to the domestic anchor, because even with all this global growth, they have to keep that core role as the UAE's go-to AI partner strong.
Absolutely. That domestic integration is fundamental. It secures those big long-term government contracts. We're seeing new deals with the Abu Dhabi Department of Government Enablement, basically weaving their AI deeper into how the government itself operates, integrating data across different federal bodies.
And it goes into economic development, too,
Right.
working with the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development on that procurement platform for SMEs.
Mm-hmm. Supporting local businesses. But I think the really strategic domestic stuff is in security and finance. There's a new strategic cooperation agreement with Abu Dhabi Police GHQ. They're deploying something called the AI Policing Suite. That's about using data for public safety innovation.
Right. And then there's the joint venture with the central bank. This brings up a really important concept you highlighted, sovereign AI. Can you unpack that? What does sovereign AI mean for, say, the UAE's financial system?
This is where technology gets really geopolitical. The JV with the central bank is explicitly about developing sovereign AI-powered platforms. Sovereign AI in this context means national control. Control over the tech, the data it uses, the algorithms, the whole infrastructure that runs critical national functions like the financial market.
So it's about independence.
Exactly. It's a strategic move away from relying on foreign tech stacks, especially for sensitive areas, ensuring national systems aren't vulnerable, to external factors or providers. It's core national strategy nowadays.
And alongside building these controlled systems, they're also shaping the rules. The MOU with the Emirates Institute of Finance's Innovation Hub. That's about responsible AI adoption, working with HSBC, Core 42.
Yes. They're not just deploying the tech, they're actively involved in setting the ethical guidelines and promoting responsible use, collaborating with major banks and tech players.
So influencing deployment and the ethics around it.
Positions them as leaders in governance, too, not just speed.
Okay, let's broaden out again. Section 4, innovation and their longer-term global moves. We've seen the financial results, the twin engines. Now, how are they building for the future and expanding that reach? I noticed a real focus on Central Asia and the Caucasus.
Yeah, that's clearly strategic. It ties back into that sovereign AI idea. But as an export model this time, they've got new agreements in Tajikistan and Azerbaijan. And crucially, they launched the Kazakhstan AI Hub in Astana.
An AI hub.
Yeah, think of it as a regional base specifically designed to help other countries in Central Asia develop their own sovereign AI programs and national data infrastructure. They're basically exporting the model they built in the UAE.
Interesting. So exporting the how-to as well as the tech. And beyond geography, they seem to be aiming for influence in global standards too. Like with that Dow Jones-Factiva partnership. That sounds like RegTech.
Absolutely. That's a very savvy move. They're co-developing AI-based risk and compliance tools for financial institutions globally. Pilot projects are already running. This puts them right in the middle of the global regulatory technology conversation. That's a sector built on trust, extremely high value.
Right. Now, all this expansion needs fuel for future innovation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that USD 100 million Presight Sharuk AI fund. This isn't just about building tech in-house anymore, is it?
No, it's a significant shift. By partnering with Sharuk, an Abu Dhabi venture firm, they become an ecosystem builder, not just a service provider. That money is targeting AI investments globally. They're looking for promising startups, giving them capital, infrastructure, potential partnerships, actively hunting for new IP.
And focusing on responsible innovation again.
And they're investing strategically in external ideas that align with their vision.
And they have a way to vet these potential investments too. The Accelerator Bootcamp.
Yeah, the Presight AI Startup Accelerator Bootcamp. They showcased 10 global startups in the first one and apparently generated over 70 qualified leads for their own government and enterprise clients.
So it's a pipeline. Find cool tech, vet it, potentially invest, and connect it to paying customers. Clever.
It shows a real commitment to open innovation, finding and integrating external tech, which isn't always common for companies like this.
Okay, nearly there. Let's quickly cover the post-quarter momentum. The sources mention a flurry of MOUs signed right after Q3 ended. Shows they didn't slow down.
Definitely not. It underlines that ongoing strategic alignment at the highest levels in the UAE. For instance, deals signed with the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology, the UAE Cybersecurity Council, key federal bodies.
And critical infrastructure partners, too, I saw.
Yes, partners like Cosna Data Centers, Emirates Nuclear Energy Company, these aren't small deals. They place Presight tech right at the core of the UAE's industrial and energy strategy. All this activity, including, 8 MOUs and 12 announcements during the GTEX tech event, it just keeps reinforcing the UAE's image as a hub for advanced computing and AI research. And that, in turn, benefits Presight's own innovation efforts.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this for you, the listener. What's the big takeaway here? It seems Presight's twin-engine strategy is working because they're focusing on really specific, customized AI things like that AI policing suite or the Energy platform. They use that domestically to become fundamental, embedded in the national infrastructure. And then they use that same specialized IP to drive rapid international growth, hence that jump to 46% international revenue. Specialization seems key.
I agree. And that raises, I think, the most interesting strategic question looking ahead. We talked about developing sovereign AI platforms at home, and now we see them actively exporting that model, launching AI hubs and sovereign AI programs abroad, especially in places like Central Asia. This really signals a push by emerging tech powers to maybe recalibrate global data governance to seek more technological independence from, the traditional Western tech giants. So the provocative thought is, what does this rise of sovereign AI really mean for the global tech landscape? And who else might follow this model?
That's a fascinating point about technological and maybe even geopolitical shifts. Definitely something to think about. We encourage you to explore those concepts further, agentic AI and sovereign AI, based on what we've discussed today. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.